You're the second largest country in the world with a 40 million population, 40 million population. I mean, you need at least about 100 million population.
Did Mark Carney just break the law numerous times? Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, we're going to be breaking down one of his massive conflicts of interest in India. We knew this was coming, and I don't think this is going to be the end of it. I think there's more coming here. We got a bunch of stuff here. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got Shreya Teest modeling out this new Abacus data poll. And what do we see? 44% for the Liberals, 38% for the Conservatives, the NDP at 7, and Bloc at 6. Modeling this out is 189 for the Liberals, 125 for the Conservatives. This would be a Liberal majority government, but give it some time. Pierre's speech has been making waves, Mark Carney making major failures, sweeping the whole thing with India under the rug. Now we see massive conflicts of interest, disenriching himself. People will wake up eventually to this. And we've got voter intention here. 18 to 29, it's tied, 41. 30 to 44, almost tied here, 41 to 40. 45 to 59, 42 to 40. And then it's just the older generation here. We need more conservative boomers, only 29 to 53%. So really, we need to be putting Carney's conflicts of interest on printed sheets wherever the liberal boomers are. Grocery stores, gas stations, wherever it may be. There's a problem we have right now, them getting the news from the CBC, well, it's highly corrupt. They're never going to wake up unless they see something that shakes up their world and they start to realize, oh, I've been lied to. Now, jumping over to India, Mark Carney has some massive conflicts of interest. We're just going to call it straight here. Here we have him arriving to meet Modi in New Delhi. So they're putting on a bit of a show here. They got some dancers and, you notice Modi doesn't come out to greet him, though. Modi, I believe, came out to meet Donald Trump. So my memory serves me correct. This is Donald Trump in 2020 arriving in India. You can see there to meet Modi. And, well, Modi's right at the bottom of the plane. Modi did not show up to Mark Carney's arrival. He did meet him later on when they finally bust him into the palace here. This is just more of the same grip and grin. Wait for it. Here it comes. More grip and grin. Now, you might be wondering, why is Carney smiling so much? We've got a couple photos of him meeting some people, meeting some more people. Got Scott Moe. And look who it is. It's Matt Generu getting the royal treatment here. What's going on with Champagne's face? Nobody knows. Then we have Mark Carney meeting this guy. Who's this? Posted right on his own account. Canada and India are both growing economies with big ambitions in energy, technology, and AI. Natarajan Chandrasekaran, the chairman of the Tata Group, and I met in Mumbai to discuss how our countries can partner in these areas to create greater security and prosperity for both our peoples. So Mark Carney met with this guy. Now you might be wondering, who is this Natarajan guy? Aside from being chairman of Tata Group, this one really stinks. We've got this on a moose chart down here. Where do we begin? I'm not even joking. We'll go chronologically here. So we've got Brookfield Multiplex plus Tata Groups. As you just saw, the chairman of the Tata Group. Now, first off, say he wasn't chairman of Tata Groups back in 2015, which we have here. This deal between Brookfield and Tata Groups for social infrastructure. April 2015, Tata Groups established a strategic partnership with Brookfield Multiplex to jointly develop social infrastructure across India, targeting commercial, retail, residential, healthcare, and tourism projects. Early projects under this agreement included healthcare facility in Kolkata, a 5-story residential tower in Bengaluru, and several commercial office special economic zones in Noida, Gurgaon, and Kolkata. I've got this clipped right off this website here. Tata Groups, Brookfield partnered jointly develop social infrastructure. April 23rd, 2015. So Brookfield in business with Tata Group. Now going back to the timeline here, we've got Natarajan Chandrasekaran. You can see here is chairman of the board of Tata Sons. So Tata Sons is the big conglomerate of all the Tata groups. There's Tata Solar and Tata Auto, Tata Power. There's a whole bunch of small companies. It's just like Brookfield. This is like India's Brookfield. It says here he joined the board of Tata Sons in October 2016. So after that deal we just saw, but Brookfield still in bed. He didn't do this deal himself. This is the only one of the ones I'm going to show you here that he didn't do himself. He was appointed chairman in January of 2017. And we've also got this down here saying same sort of thing, chairman of the board of Tata Sons, the holding company and promoter of more than 100 Tata operating companies with aggregate annual revenues of more than 150 billion. So these guys are actually bigger than Brookfield. So moving chronologically, going down here, we've got this one, Brookfield plus Tata Power, which is a subsidiary or an arm of Tata Power. Power Limited, which is under Tata Sons. This is for renewable power. Surprise, surprise. Late 2020, Brookfield Renewables entered negotiations to invest up to 700 million into renewable power infrastructure with Tata. This is part of Tata's power strategy to reduce its debt by spinning off its renewable energy book. We got that one here coming from BT Business Today. Brookfield may invest up to 700 million in Tata, as I just showed you. And you'll notice this deal was done in late 2020. What else happened in 2020? We already know that Natarajan was then chairman of the board of Tata, so he was most likely signing these off, or at least very much involved in these deals. But we also know that Mark Carney joined Brookfield in August of 2020 as vice chair of Brookfield Asset Management, in charge of ESG, environmental, social, and governance. As in, Mark Carney did this deal with none other than Natarajan, the very same guy that he's shaking hands with here and naming on his own X account. This is a conflict of interest. This is against the law. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but when I read the Conflict of Interest Act right off the government's own website here, and it says, for the purpose of this act, a public office holder is in a conflict of interest when he or she exercises an official power, duty, or function that provides opportunity to further his or her private interests, or with his or her relatives or friends to improperly further another person's private interests. Mark Carney is furthering his private interests. This is against the law. We've also got number 6. No public office holder shall make a decision or participate in making decisions related to an exercise of an official power, duty, or function if the public office holder knows or reasonably should know that in of making the decision he or she be in a conflict of interest. He knows he's in a conflict of interest. He's breaking 2 laws here in the Conflict of Interest Act. But carrying on here, we're not done yet. We've got this one here, Brookfield plus Tata Power for Rajasthan Solar Project. This is in June 22nd, Tata Power Solar, a wholly owned subsidiary of Tata Power, successfully commissioned 450 megawatt utility scale solar plant for Brookfield Renewable India. The engineering, procurement, and construction was built in Rajasthan. It involved the installation of 800,000 bifacial solar modules in just 7 months. Once again, this is another deal that Mark Carney did with this guy that he just met as Prime Minister now. Conflict of interest. This is against the law. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can see right on their own website here. This is from Tata Power themselves. This is their deal with Brookfield. We also have it on this website here, TND India, same thing. Tata Power Solar commissions 450 megawatt solar project. And that brings us to the final project, Brookfield Asset Management plus Tata Investment Corporation for Nexus Malls. So they both invested in this mall, which we see here in May 2023. Brookfield Asset Management, Tata Group, investing in this via Tata Investment Corporation, act as key investors in this initial public offering of Nexus Malls. This Blackstone-related real estate investment trust holds up to 17 commercial assets across 13 Indian cities, 390 million REIT IPO. This not only wraps up Mark Carney and Natarajan, but this is also a deal that's involving Blackstone, the very same Blackstone Stephen A. Schwartzman donated to Donald Trump's Republican campaign here, and the same Blackstone that's wrapped up in Western LNG, KSI Lisms, North Coast Transmission Line, this whole business here. It's just another layer of these guys doing business with these big American companies. Where's the elbows up crew? If that's not ridiculous enough as it is, this is already breaking the law, conflict of interest law. Part 1, section 4 and 6. What tops it off is this link here, going over to Bloomberg New Economy. And what do we find over there? Well, we've got this scaling up hydrogen, the case for low carbon ammonia. I already did a whole video on this. I found a guy on YouTube who completely debunks this. He's a scientist who breaks it down in a very long video, showing that when ammonia gets converted with electrolysis, these are windmills out at sea, converting it into green hydrogen, then shipping that over to Germany, and they convert it back and turn it into energy. They lose about 80 to 90% of the power. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you can see the green hydrogen projection here that they want to do, scaling this up. It's another green grift. And we can see this report here was from January 11th, 2024, so about 2 years ago. So this is right on Bloomberg New Economy. And we have the steering committee, Mike Bloomberg, seems obvious, seeing this is Bloomberg's website. We've got Mark Carney, UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance and Chair of Brookfield Asset Management. Who's next? Natarajan Chandrasekaran. That's right, the chairman of Tata Sons. These guys sat on the same committee together. They did multiple deals together, and now Mark Carney's meeting him in India. And not only that, we got Bruce Flatt here too. Just throw that in for a little extra fun. With all that, how is Carney not breaking the law? With Rule 4, Rule 6, and with Rule 7, no public office holder shall, in the exercise of an official power, duty, or function, give preferential treatment to any person or organization based on the identity of the person or organization that represents the first mentioned person or organization. Mark Carney knows this guy. He used to sit on a board with him. He's done business deals with him. This is ridiculous. And you know what's especially bizarre about this whole situation? Finding this website. And also note, if you just go to the parent parent website here, which you can see here, BloombergNewEconomy.com. I can't get to this website. You can see I'm on it right now, but what happens when I search this? I get this. Your internet access is blocked. Now, I'm not going to jump to conclusions of what this is. I'm just going to give you the straight facts. I cannot access this website without using a VPN. Does anyone know why? If somebody knows why, please leave it in the comments, because I'm not blocked for any other website that I can find on the internet. Only this one. And I'll show you here. It's not just this one. This is the URL here that I just showed you. There's other ones too, like this one, 2026 New Economy Forum India. Can't get to that one either. And I'll prove it. So this website here where they show this information, you can see at the top, case for low carbon ammonia. Well, if I go back here, it's the same website, right? If I try to refresh, nothing. I can't view this website. Now, if we turn my VPN back on, which I just did on my other screen, you can refresh this. I'm actually on another website here on the same domain. It doesn't matter. I can't get to any of them. See, these load back up. I can go back and see it's kind of messed up the website here. I can refresh this. There it loads again. If I turn the VPN off, which I just did there, and now refresh it again, and you'll see this thing will... It's in there. It's in the memory, so it messes up again. So it's showing me basically what it has cached, but if I click on any one of these links, either blocked. So if anyone knows exactly what's going on here, leave a comment down below. Otherwise, we can just wildly speculate. And one other final thing to think about Mark Carney going over to India. Remember when Mark Carney kicked out Chandra Arya from his riding and just took his riding over for no reason? They say there's a reason, but we don't know what that is. And well, Chandra Arya has a son named Siddharth Arya. And if we look at his business history, he used to work at Brookfield Infrastructure in India from 2024 to 25. I don't know if there's any ties here, I'm just saying, but he was in Mumbai, India. He's since quit this job, and you can see he's moved over to a board member of Pipeline Infrastructure and Infrastructure Development. Was there some sort of deal here for Chandra Arya giving up his seat? Did Chandra Arya's son have to move over so there wasn't this direct connection there? I don't know what's going on here, but it's interesting. And one last thing on top of this, with Bloomberg here and this panel, and just recently we have this out from Bloomberg, foreign direct investment into Canada jumps in fourth quarter and pushing yearly inflows to the highest level in 18 years. So this article being pushed around, making Mark Carney seem like some savior of Canada, when in reality, there's two things happening here. Money is way more inflated today, and there's also major mergers and acquisitions that have happened. Foreign companies buying up Canadian companies. That's where this comes from. This is not direct investment. This is not great for our country. This is a headline being pushed out by Bloomberg. The same Bloomberg here, Carney sat on the board of as a chair of the board of directors from August 2023 to January 2025. Now we've got Carney meeting with Chatteran. This is just so ridiculous. Rampant corruption here is off the charts. So now that I've showed you all those conflicts of interest, moving ahead, what do we have here on Power and Politics? We've got the Indian High Commissioner saying that Canada needs 60 million more people. What's going on here?
You have things which we need. We have things which you need. I mean, for example, simple examples. We have, you're a country of, you're the second largest country in the world with a 40 million population, 40 million population. You need at least about 100 million population. You need people to man many of your resources. We have the capacity, we have the intellect, we have the talent, we have the resources.
We're such a big country. We need to have 100 million, but don't worry. India has 60 million they can send us because we're only 40 million. That's essentially what he just said there. So the Century Initiative is not going anywhere. I think Mark Carney is going to double down on this. He might have to do it in a roundabout way, but I mean, as we've seen from immigration statistics here, most of the people are coming from India. There needs to be a cap per country. I've already said this. I said this 2 years ago. There should be a cap where all the countries have to be relatively balanced. You can't just have one outlier like this, because this wipes out Canadian culture and replaces it with Indian culture. It would be the same thing if you replace the Philippines here. It doesn't matter what country it is. It's the fact that there's too many people from one country. And we get it, that there's 1.6 billion people from India, so they have more people. It doesn't matter. A little update on their Ukraine video. Embrandt posting this. Defense firm paid Ukrainian broker to secure 92 million sole source contract with Ottawa. Lawsuit says Rochelle Inc. countersuing ex-employee for 11 million in damages for defamation, malicious falsehood, and breach of contract. So it says here the CCC audit is related to the allegations that Rochelle paid cash to a former Ukrainian official to influence decisions made by the Ukrainian government and or military that culminated in Canada's purchase of 200 of the company's vehicles in January to be sent to Ukraine, according to the lawsuit here. This crap is just tangle web of nonsense. Look at this. Russia, not Canada. Also not Canada. Yes, not our border and not Canada. Meanwhile, in Canada, we've got this from the National Post. Post why BC ruled that street candy in playgrounds is constitutionally protected. David Eby is the worst premier in Canadian history. Over a $13 billion deficit is what he's going to be running this year. For what, this? We got Reclamaire posting this, Alberta's federal contributions. No wonder there's separatist sentiment in the province. Since 1957, $2.2 trillion. People don't like paying the government over and over and over and then getting nothing in return. And not only nothing, seeing the money just shuttled over to Africa and the World Bank and WF and all these stupid things that don't help anyone and enrich their friends. Moving ahead here, a quick recap of what happened over the weekend. We had Donald Trump go into Iran, take out the supreme leader, the Ayatollah, which has sent shockwaves across the world. We have a whole bunch of people cheering in the street. There's other people that are sad about him being taken out. We've got France here, decided they will be sending in the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle Eastern Mediterranean to defend the region after Iranian Pow drones struck their French naval base in the UAE. We also had Mark Carney come out and kiss Trump's boots, saying that Iranian regime was bad, blah, blah, blah. We know Mark Carney is just so weak. Speaking of weak, we also had Keir Starmer come out and say that America can use their bases now, the Air Force bases, when before they were pushing back against them using them before. It's just pathetic. And what do we see from the CBC? 40 days of mourning have been declared.
Iran is responding with force today to U.S. and Israeli airstrikes.
So this whole segment here, it talks too much about people being ended, but it just, pow strikes on cities, on people, the supreme leader getting taken out, damaged ports, hotels, airports, and then it goes on to show the people mourning for the Ayatollah that's been taken out.
Confirmation of the Ayatollah's death by Iranian state media brought tens of thousands of people out on the streets in protest. 40 days of mourning have now been declared across Iran, and an interim leadership council has been put in place.
They don't show all the people, all the students cheering in the streets that this has freed them. It's unbelievable this is what they put up.